Automate selective service registration for all men. I hope Gen Z is listening to this one and Gen Alpha. And I hope people who have kids who are Gen Alpha are listening to this one. Now, to be fair, if you're a dude, you got to sign up for the draft either way. There hasn't been one in 50 years, so most people aren't worried about it. But I'm pretty sure if there's a World War III coming and the U.S. thinks it may be the case, yeah, they're going to draft all of you. Now, I'm fortunate enough that I'm old. I am 38. And so I don't gotta worry about it. When you're between like 18 and 26, you're just like, oh, I hope a war doesn't break out where they're gonna make me fight it. And I don't gotta go fight for these crackpots. But Gen Alpha and Gen Z will have to.
What is the cutoff for?
Well, they
and how are we defining men in the modern vernacular?
So it'll go forever, right? If
it's needed, it's just
right. Like Ukraine's drafting women now and the elderly. That's what Ukraine is, pulling women and the elderly to the front lines, and they don't give them. There's no training. They grab a guy off the street. There's videos of them they'll grab a guy off the street and be like, "You're going to war," and then people freak out like, "What's happening?" They put him in a uniform, hand him a gun, and say, "Go," and then they're just cannon fodder. But they don't care. The U.S. certainly doesn't care. NATO doesn't care. So here's the story. A new plan from House lawmakers would automatically register men for a potential military draft when they hit 18, avoiding potential legal consequences connected to failing to file the paperwork at a proper time. Language included in the House Armed Service Committee's draft of the annual defense authorization bill would mandate the automatic registration of all males between 18 and 26 living in America in the selective service system, the federal database used for a military draft in the case of a national emergency. It hasn't been used for that purpose in 52 years, but men who fail to register can face a host of legal consequences. Now, I wonder what would be happening right now where you have a Democrat, Chrissy Houlihan, sponsoring the automatic registration language, calling it both a money-saving and common-sense reform. Why? I tell you this, I can assure you right now, the majority of young men will never agree to fight in a nation where women do not have to, but are granted equal say in government, politics, and favored in courts. There is a huge issue right now with the rise of the likes of Andrew Tate and Pearl Davis, and now you got Homath, and these channels exist for a reason. Young men are not happy with the disproportionate, the second-class citizen system that as related to things like selective service. You go to an 18-year-old guy and say, you will be forced to fight and die for a country because a female politician who does not have to do it mandated you do so. Now you go back in time and a guy says, I am going to go fight and die, and you're expected to do the same. And a lot of guys were like, it's our duty. We all do it. Now you have a system where you have a bunch of elite multimillionaire women like Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats who would vote in favor of this. Not to mention older guys who don't have to fight, telling young men they have to go fight and die. One of the big reasons why the draft is not popular in the first place is because you have elite older men forcing young people to go fight and die for them and their wars, and they don't have to. I say we take it all the way back to the 1900s when they tried passing this bill. I think it was an amendment that said if you vote in favor of war, you have to go fight for it. They said we'll put an amendment saying we vote on whether to declare war directly, and then if you vote yes, you're conscripted on the spot. It's going to be interesting to see what happens right now with the current state of, how young men are viewing the world and the rise of these angry young men who are pissed off about this system.
Are politicians exempt from drafts?
Well, no, it's an age thing. There's
right, but if you're younger, so it's
you're not going to be in Congress if you're 25.
Right.
So they're drafting only young guys, and typically people who can't afford to pay someone to go in their stead. That's what they used to do back in the day. If you were rich, you could pay someone to go to the draft for you. So if you got called in, they'd be like, okay, here's money. He'll do it. Yep. But I don't know if it's actually going to take off or if it's going to happen. But I do think it's interesting that they're actively trying to do it right now of all times.
Yeah.
Right.
I do think it's fair for men to quit.
In this video, we're going to talk about the military draft. All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. This video will be entitled Military Draft. The meat grinder needs more souls. The meat grinder needs more flesh. Currently, you have in Ukraine, the Russia-Ukraine war, people have begun being drafted. As you heard this video talking about it, the coming draft here, a bill being proposed by Congress. But you know, it's just a matter of time. That's just a preliminary. Now they're taking people in Ukraine, and they're grabbing them off the streets. Elderly, I don't know how old, but they're older people, women, and they're handing them a gun. Like these guys said, they're not even training them, and I believe it. Now, will it get to that bad in America? I don't think so, but we know that there's going to be Armageddon, there's going to be war, there's going to be a World War III. And many people in America, Babylon the Great, are going to get drafted and fight. You're going to have to go there and fight and die. It's no mistaking. And they call that thing the Great Meat Grinder. What's going on currently with Ukraine and Russia. They call it the meat grinder because that's what's happening. People are just getting slaughtered. I saw another video that said they estimated that 1,500 Ukrainian troops are being killed a day. Just imagine how many people have been killed so far. So it's terrible. Now, there was another statistic that said 500,000 people on the Ukrainian side had perished, and that's just troops they're talking about. And I don't believe that. I think that's a little bit inflated, but I could be wrong. Anyway, there's going to be a military draft in America, Babylon the Great, and you people that think you got all these rights and all this freedom, you love America so much, but now you're going to have to go and fight for it. Just a matter of time. In the scriptures, it does talk about a war to end all wars. Let's start at Joel chapter 3 verse 1. It says, the nations will be judged, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. This means that the Israelites, the southern and the northern kingdom, will be let out of captivity. And this is a prophecy. This is whereby we know that the people in the Holy Land now currently could not be the authentic people of the land, because why? They're in the land already, and Armageddon hadn't even came yet. It says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat or Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So it's going to happen because of what? Because of what happened to the Israelites. Okay, don't make no mistake about it. When we go to Isaiah 34, it speaks about a great slaughter. Isaiah 34:1, it says, the Most High's wrath against nations. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations. Right, the Most High is mad with every nation, and his fury upon all their enemies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. And that slaughter is what? The great meat grinder of the Lord. It's already being called that in the Ukraine-Russia war. But it's going to be even worse than that when all nations go into it and fight. As we've seen, the Lord is going to bring all nations. It says, their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountain shall be melted with their blood. So as this slaughter is called, we say World War III, but in the scriptures it's called Armageddon. Let's go to Revelation 6. I'm sorry, Revelation 16. And it says, we're going to go around about verse 13. Armageddon. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. Right? And these 3 unclean spirits represent the 3 city states, or the 3 city states, which is what? Babylon the Great, America, is where your military headquarters of this empire is. London, England, is where the financial headquarters for this empire, the Roman Empire, is. And Vatican City is where the spiritual headquarters is of this empire. These 3 unclean spirits are going to do this thing. It says, for they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world. For what purpose? To gather them to the battle of the great day of power almighty. Right, and that's going to be called what? Armageddon. Right, we go, well, we already read it. No, Salakia. Verse 15 says, Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. And he gathered them into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. We say Harmageddon. Continuing on in Joel chapter 3 again and verse 9. It says, Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares and the swords, and your pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And this is meaning what? The nations that were formerly thought of as weak are now saying they are strong. Do you know why? Because of their nuclear capabilities. They now possess nuclear weapons because it is the will of the Lord. And as these mighty men are preparing for war, when World War III, probably before it fully begins, because we're already in it, but this is the leading up to the all-out fighting. Many people will be drafted into the military in Babylon the Great, and also too, there was also a word of Germany already setting up the draft, Great Britain, and France, and this is from like 2 weeks ago. So we knew that America was also going to do the same thing. They're already setting up the draft. They just, the news is coming out slow on it. But it's going to come. It's not going to be a popular vote. People are not going to be very happy about it. But as you heard them talking about it, the rich don't give a damn. They ain't worried about it. They know they ain't going to fight. Where's the video? Right here. You see, this NWO crowd, it's going to happen, man. And the mark of the beast is going to be coming too. And those that go into World War III to fight, you're going to have to take the chip so they can keep up with you, more than likely. So these prophecies are moving. Let's continue reading. It says, Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Now we read in Isaiah 34, right, that the Lord had indignation, that the indignation of the Lord was upon all nations. It says, Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So partially, it's punishment for the nations to make them go to World War III and fight because of what they did to the Israelites. That's part of their punishment. This is how we know it's part of the judgment, because Yahweh Shaphat breaks down as to what? Or Jehoshaphat breaks down to Yahweh Shaphat. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father. Shaphat means judgment. It's the valley of Jehoshaphat or Yahweh Shaphat for judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. What is a multitude? A bunch of people. So multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. That's right. The Lord about to get down. He's going to bring forth a severe, harsh judgment. First, he's going to make the nations go into World War III and fight. Then he's going to use that same conflict to have the nuclear warheads get shot off for different nations. But America, Babylon the Great will be completely destroyed. We're going to read it now in Joel chapter 3 from the NLT. Listen. Say to the nations far and wide, get ready for war. Call out your best warriors. Let all your fighting men advance for the attack. Hammer your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Train even your weaklings to be warriors. Come quickly, all you nations everywhere. Gather together in the valley. And now, O Lord, call out your warriors. Let the nations be called to arms. Let them march to the valley of Jehoshaphat. There I, the Lord, will sit to pronounce judgment on them all. Swing the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come tread the grapes, for the winepress is full. The storage vats are overflowing with the wickedness of these people. Thousands upon thousands are waiting in the valley of decision. There the day of the Lord will soon arrive. Woo-woo. Scary stuff. Apocalyptic times, end of the world stuff on the way, nowhere to turn. Nowhere to turn. All you people that's been running your mouths, you're going to close your mouth in that day. But you're going to open your mouth even wider because you're going to be yelling. But the Most High is going to make believers out of all of you. This is Revelation 9 and verse 12. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. What is the woes? The woes represent the great world wars. So one woe is past, that was World War One. Behold, there come two more woes hereafter. World War II came already. Now we're up to 3, which is Armageddon. And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of men. And the 3rd part of men represent what? The Edomites, the sons of the wicked. This whole thing is going to come to pass because they're going to be getting judged too. The Lord is cold. He's going to bring forth a military draft. And I really ain't going to say a whole lot more on it. I'm going to leave it right there where it is. Prepare yourselves out there, you brothers. All right. And we're praying that certain younger brothers don't get called into this thing. I don't think you will. I mean, but you know, hey, I could be wrong. But we pray that Yahushua would deliver every brother, you know, that's in that age range. Because that military draft is going to come. The meat grinder needs more souls. And it's really for the stupid people of the world. All you people all over TikTok and YouTube talking all your shit, and Instagram and Facebook, social media. A lot of you got your whole lives ahead of you, but you ain't going to live that long. Because you're going to go to the great meat grinder and you're going to get ground up. Thus said the Lord. Don't say it in those words, but it's there if you look. The military draft is on the way. The flesh, the meat grinder needs more souls. The meat grinder needs more flesh. We will see you again soon, Lord willing. All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. Shalom.